Ahem. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone. How are we all doing today? Howdy. Hello, I'm gonna lurk in the shadows. I'm in a work meeting. No worries, we're gonna be doing a lot of reading today. Also, that was very good timed. That was like perfect timing. What the hell, Blue? Good. Howdy, everyone. I did just woke up. I forget people around the world still waking up. It is like 3 p.m. for me. I'm about to go to sleep. I need someone to wake me up. I'm gonna drink this Diet Coke and hope that gets me up somewhere. But anyways, hello Phil, hello Koku, hello Loco, hello Milky, hello Wane, hello Phil, hello Blue, hello YS. Is it Wan? Did I my name right? Okay, no, yeah. Hello Bendy, and did I miss anyone? I don't think it. Funny Boy, you're somewhere in here. And Cutie, hello. I called dibs after Koku's story. Okay, fine. You can have dibs after your Bendy. That hurts my points. You've got to be somewhere close to like the Kazoo stream. You've got to be somewhere close. Yeah, just waiting to do it when you least expect it. I'm always expecting it. I'm always prepared for it, okay? Always. 20k for me? You guys have a lot of points. You guys actually have a lot of points. I should be scared, but it's a lot of points. Eventually, I'm gonna add a point system where it's like 30k to like end stream. But I feel like if I did do that, you guys would just have too many points. Stream would just end so fast. We are rich. Dude, you guys are actually rich. I don't know why. You guys just have so much more, so many points. Do 100k. We basically already have something like that. Basically, it's the Kazoo stream. Don't worry, Toro. I'm a hoarder. I would never spend points. Never. Totally not. I'll just have it, and then just like one day my stream just ends. So I'm like, oh, it's time to go to bed. Oh my god. But yeah, hopefully we're all doing good. Also, I think yes, you mentioned that Stellar was streaming. Stellar was streaming a sneak peek of the AV dub for episode 2. I'm assuming the sneak peek probably has me on there. Also, hi Skittle, welcome. Do y'all know the rhythm game, A Dance of Fire and Ice? I think I saw that on YouTube Shorts recently. It's like a weird game. It's like you have to tap to. How do I describe it? It's like you have 2 balls and it's like on a square map, and you have to like they rotate in like a direction until you tap it to not rotate it. It's really weird. I think I know what you're talking about though. Yeah, the dub comes out in 2 days. You can't tell people that. You can't be dropping like information like that. Shh. Maybe we can watch it because in 2 days we do our stream as well, so we can watch it on stream. Yeah, I saw it was awesome, dude. Look, okay, I'm gonna go back and take a look at that. Oh wait, yeah, Stella's streaming right now. Also, Commander Razor, hello, and welcome to the chat. Yeah, I didn't know. Since when could donuts read? Always. I could read since all the time. Cause I'm just like that. Drop information like that, cooking for real. Stellar already said on his community post. He's so vague, doesn't give time zone. I don't know what time it is for me. Okay, if it's 2 days, what time is it? Did he say? What time did he say? I think he lives in like PST, Pacific time. That's what I think. I can translate it for you. You have 2 balls. What? Wait, what? What? I'm so lost. Speaking of which, I should what is it? I have some lines to do for a different project that's not Kirby related, and I'm supposed to like what is it? Record them by the end of June, by the beginning of June, and it is currently 2 more days until the 31st. I probably should record them, but at the same time, it's like I don't think I want to. I don't know. I'll get to it probably. It's just I'm just procrastinating so hard in this one. I was gonna quote that. Put that in the quotes channel. You have 2 balls. But yeah, like I don't know in America where he lives somehow. Why are you always like this? Don't question it. It's everyone in the chat's fault. It's not my fault. I'm like, by the way, I'm so sorry. Usually we're way more energetic. I am pretty exhausted. Honestly, I should stop streaming after I finish work and probably do it like when I finish a nap or something. Because, oh my god, I'm so tired every time I jump into stream. I think it's 7 AM for you, Coco. I think I'm not sure. Probably. When that sounds right. I'm one of the more normal Friday Night Funkin' players. I downloaded a Friday Night Funkin' song to a dance of fire and ice. I close my eyes and I could just play only hearing it. That makes sense. Yeah, that sounds about right. No, don't blame us. I blame everyone in chat. Anything happens, I blame everyone in chat. Skittle says, no, I'm innocent. No, any later and I'd be tired. Wait, what time is it for you, Skittle? Also, you're not innocent. I mean, well, I who said it would be later? It could be earlier in the day. I just do it on a different day. But then we have too many schedule changes. I feel like. But I want to mention this because I think, right? I think like last. I'm trying to think. My brain is trying to think. Last week when we did reading streams, I think I was passed out just like from sleepiness, reading, and then apparently no one said anything because I swear like for like a minute I just like passed out while reading, and I don't know what the hell I was saying. I don't think I was reading properly. I'm pretty sure I didn't read the whatever story I was reading like right, but no one said anything, so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go with it. And I never looked at the VOD, so I could have like I don't know, probably got it wrong. Also, what do you think of the fan art I sent you last night? Very only a face a mother could love, by the way, just saying. Still same comment, Benny. We are very innocent, obviously. Oh my god, total amount. Yeah. It's not like I'm in like any detriment. My health is in super bad condition and I need to go to the doctors to fix it. No, I'm just really tired. I've been up since 5. So 5 AM, it is like 3 PM. And every time I start stream, it's been at least like 10 hours since I've been awake, so I'm a little tired. And some nights I sleep at like midnight, so I get like 5 hours of sleep, which is not good. Obviously, I should sleep more, but like it's just it's kind of on me. It's kind of on me. I went to the month of May end, so because this whole month I've been trying to go to the gym and work out like every single day. Because that's been a challenge I'm doing with a buddy, where the whole month of May, which yes, 31 days, we work out every single day, or at least go to the gym. And holy, I've been keeping up with it, and I'm so tired. My body hurts a lot. Also, Razor, yes, we're allowed to curse. 5 hours is a lot. I get like 3. I do not. Dude, 3? That's insane. I don't need sleep. Fuck that. Oh god. We are ranting a lot. Let me get the story. If I'm gonna yap all night, let me get the story ready real quick. Where is it? Where is it? I'm checking our DMs. I don't know. Yappy. Dude, that's what I tell people voice actors are. Voice actors are just professional yappers. Not even a joke. Just professional yappers. Really good at yapping. What can I say? Imagine not staying up making art. Couldn't be me, bro. Yeah, for real. Couldn't be me. Cringe. Let me get the thing up, by the way. Also, quick question. Are we on chapter 3? I think we're on chapter 3, right? I think we're in chapter 3. I want to assume we're in chapter 3. But you can let me know. I've also gone to school with 2 hours. I legit got a week them in like 2 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, 12 hours, 3 hours. At least you made up some of it on that 12-hour day. Still, like, sleep is for the weak. Hell yeah. Okay, jokes aside, anyone seen like that video where someone's talking about how like sleep debt is a thing, and it's like It's impossible to catch up on sleep debt. Yeah, chapter 3? Okay, cool. It's impossible to catch up on sleep debt because it's like if you were to try to like catch up on like hours and hours of sleep debt, you'd literally be catching up for a long for a long time. I don't know what the math was specifically, but it's really, really hard, something like that. It's really difficult to catch up on it. Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. Skittle says I'm fucked. Nah, you're good. You're good. Honestly, just like don't think that you have that much debt. Just think about it on a weekly basis. Just like that's how I do. I feel like some of it's a bit mental. If you think that you don't have sleep or you need more sleep, you're probably gonna feel a little bit more sleepier. You know, I think it's like 3 days per 1 day of not sleeping. That's why. Yeah. That's what my friend told me. I don't know. I think that's what it is too. So it just like accumulates. Stop yapping, Tor, and start the story so I can count them spelling mistakes. My bad. Well, you could just start looking on the screen here. There's probably a spelling mistake on the screen. Like, functioned. Is that even a real word? I'm Googling that. Hold on. No, it's a real word. Okay. I'm just gaslighting. I'm just bullying. Function is a real word, okay? Sadly, it is. Is water a word? Nah, probably not. It sounds like a fake word to me. Just how Australia's a fake country. I think in each passing moment. I guess I'm tired, I sleep. If I'm not, I don't. Yeah, that's very true. Just go by, like, don't think about the hours. If you're tired, you sleep. If you're not, just stay up. Sometimes you can survive on, like at least 5 hours. It happens. Fix your fucking boss. My bad. Chill out. You can swear, but you gotta chill, okay? If you can swear, you gotta be on the chill, okay, Razor? Over here, we gotta be on the chill, alright? Oh, my fucking mic. It just fell over. Hold on. Okay, we'll start reading once I fix my mic. Give me a second. Oh, that was New Zealand. They're both not real. New Zealand doesn't exist. Coca doesn't exist either. It's just all a ploy from the UK. Oh, fuck. There we go. Fix it. Oh my lord, that scared me. I'm so sorry. Mic is good. I gotta put it closer to me so I can, like, hopefully it doesn't fall over. Alright, that should be close enough. Quit yapping so we can get the Coca story and mine as well. Bendy, I know why you're here. I know the only reason why you're here. What if we just never read your story? That means you have to stay through the stream the whole time. Okay. I'm just so sad I can't buy ads here. Oh my god, I should do a point system where you can do like 10k points and we run ads. God, that'd be so awesome. Okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath. Real quick, we are going to be reading. Anyone who is new here, we just read through the whole story and try to do it in one go. If I see only a specific Koku story, if I see a typing or spelling error, I'm gonna be that guy. we're gonna bully Koku a little bit. We're gonna highlight it. Anything I think is funny, with our magic highlighting pencil, and I won't say anything about it. We'll just continue reading. So everyone grab a drink, everyone grab a snack. We're gonna try to do it one go. I'm gonna avoid chat, but if you do want something and you need to say something important, you can spend 500 points to give a text to speech, and I would usually probably look up to read that because it's gonna be speaking to me. So yeah. Benny says the gate doesn't disappears. The fuck. Blue says if the mic falls again, it's me poking from the shadows. It's someone. I don't know why the mic falls. It should be stable. So someone is definitely poking in it, right? If gay people would disappear, Koku wouldn't be able to finish KK because half of the cast would be gone. Roasted. Kind of true though. But my attention span don't allow this. Oh, that's okay, Skittle. Mine neither, but I still try my best. Do you want to change music real quick? I'm gonna see if before we start, I wanna take a look at a few things and change music. Let's see more chill. Okay, we'll start here. We'll do a Persona 4 chill music. I like that. I'm gonna look at some real quick. Alright. Bro, I'm fucking stupid. I changed my music when you said that. No. I keep the music. It's okay. It's okay. Happens all the time. That ain't no roast, man. That's just the truth. Oh my god. Not a roast, just the truth. We love our gay characters, okay? Okay. So, I'm getting the read ready. I just saw Stellar's update, by the way. So yeah, he did it. He had to update it. I can't wait for episode 2 to comes up because that's gonna be basically all me. So, oh boy, can't wait for everyone to judge me on that. I recorded on the actual good mic, so that's gonna be interesting to hear. Actually, recorded on high quality stuff, so people can hear that. You might not think it's me for a while. All right, no read, yes, yap. No, I'm sorry. We're gonna start reading now. If you want to disappear because you don't like reading, 100% understandable. But we are here for reading today, so no more yapping. We're gonna get going. I'm gonna go silent for at least a few, like 10 seconds or more, and then I'm gonna start reading. So yeah. Also, Coco, I just read that. What am I gonna read in this chapter? Goodbye, everyone who doesn't have the attention span to stay. Oh, you mean the chapter of, yeah, no, those Aeon's lines are not. I definitely read them, and I paused. I looked at the lines. Oh fuck, my mic fell again. I looked at the lines. I looked at Aeon. I looked into myself and I was like, well, this is what I signed up for. An hour passed and I sent the lines in and never thought about them again. Also, this is Angelic. I think this is Dawn Lights Respite. Fix my mic and then we start reading. Fuck. Just. Okay, I'm gonna fix my mic. Alright, reading now. No more chat. I gotta stop being so ADD about this. No more chat. Did a realization hit? Yes, it did. Hi, Matt. Welcome to the stream. Sorry, Matt. Okay. Hey, forget your waters. Don't fart. It's fine. Don't worry. Okay. Sorry, Matt. Okay. Everyone take your ADHD pills. Time to read. Chapter 3. Planet Snowstar. Hours passed by quickly aboard the GSA spacecraft. The remainder of the day, or rather hours of the day, set by the nearest planet standards, were wearing thin, as Onion and Flannery had spent that time together. Or well, the time was more spent with Flannery playing some make-believe game in one of the rooms. He'd been running around and filling the rooms with giggles and fun. Onion, on the other hand, had spent that time watching the kid from the sidelines. The knight was beginning to realize that he really didn't understand the way Flannery's mind functioned. Well, perhaps not Flannery alone, but children in general, Onion couldn't understand. He'd never truly spent much time around them after all. He had no younger siblings or cousins, no nieces nor nephews. In fact, Onion was the only one of his generation from his family. He knew well there was weight on his shoulders to eventually have children to continue his family line, but the knight had always found it daunting. Then again, it's not like he was in any position to be considering such a thing. He'd not known anyone to whom he could share the honor of bearing a child with. That ordeal alone was something Onion figured he was running from. The knight had continued to ponder his own life affairs while watching the kid play. Though, eventually, it'd been time to rest for the night. Onion had checked the autopilot function once before the bed, and was aware they were only a handful of hours away from their destination. He'd altered their autopilot coordinates to set them down just outside the Snow Star solar system, so the knight was well aware their trip would be overcome the morning. That had still been some time away though, and Onion prioritized having Flannery ready for bed. The knight wasn't exactly sure what to do, but ensured the kid went and brushed his teeth and tucked him away in one of the spare quarters for him to sleep in. The kid had been upset. He needed to sleep alone, though Onion couldn't say he was at all concerned about that. He had no intention of keeping the kid company while he was asleep of all times, and left him to fall asleep on his own. Perhaps Onion should have been more mindful. It'd only been a few hours into the night when it happened. Were quiet and worried groans of Flannery, asleep in the bed. Onion had left him in though, tossing and turning, as some imagery in his head was struggling to allow him to sleep contently. Fire. He could see fire. It had been so hot. The kid was beginning to pant in his sleep before his eyes shot open, confused at what he'd seen in his own head. Huh? Flannery sat up a bit from the bed he was sleeping in, looking around some anxiousness to find someone around. That knight who was normally with him, he wanted him. Flannery didn't say anything or comment on what he had seen in his dream. Instead, he took a few slow breaths to himself in hopes of calming himself down. Sorry about that. And quietly slid off the side of the bed. His small feet touched the ground, and he hopped over carefully to his room door, peeking out of it to be met with the ship's corridor. He was quiet, and looked to the left of the door to see that there were several rooms lined along the room. But which one Onion would have been in was a mystery to the kid. He frowned a little, tapping his nubs together as he peeked the other way, to be met with the same row of doors. This wasn't going to work well. He'd have to sneak around and try to find the older knight on his own. The thought caused Flannery to tap his nubs together nervously. He'd taken a step forward, then two more, but was halted when a light started to flash behind him. Flannery turned his little head to see there was a room with a door half open. A green light flashed from inside the room. The kid didn't pay much attention to what the knight did a lot of the time, but he remembered the room with the light was the one that had all the buttons in it. Flannery wanted to find Onion, but he also wanted to see what the light was. Just a little peek, he mumbled a bit to himself, and made his way to the control room. Inside was a holographic map glowing above the control panel. Flannery wasn't all that sure what to make of the map at first. That was until he saw the outline of a star showing on it. An arrow was highlighting a dot near the star, and upon the map zooming in, it showed that the dot was their ship. And they were currently sitting just outside Snow Star's stratosphere. Flannery's eyes sparkled with sudden childish excitement. The worry in his gut from a dream he had dissipated as he rushed over to the control panel, immediately smashing his little nubs on random buttons in hopes of getting the ship to go to Snow Star right then and there. However, Flannery seemed to be confused. the shape of the planet bringing to mind a different place. Popstar! Popstar! I want to go now! He complained, his nubs playing with every button he could find. As if on command, an error symbol appeared on the map screen. Flannery couldn't read what the error was warning him about, and given his childish excitement, he didn't think it'd be that bad. Hopping up on the seat of the control panel and pushing his nub on the steering controls. Popstar! Thou ship, go there now! He complained and pouted, though the moment his nubs turned the wheel, the harshness of the turn caused the ship to turn on its side, hemming down towards Snowstar and heading down fast and very much at the wrong angle. Flannery was immediately sent flying and flung onto one of the ship's walls, which at its current angle was their new floor. He winced upon smashing his head to the wall, tears prickling his eyes the moment he realized.
Tech Knight says I am here, and I apologize for being so late.
Oh, no worries about it. Hi, Flair. Welcome to the stream. Howdy, howdy. Hopefully you're doing good. I think everyone's doing good. You just writing horse in chat. Jorse. There's horses. I am doing good. That's good to hear, Flair. Good to hear. Hopefully you can stay a little bit. If you can, we'll get to Revision Coca story, then Benny's, and then hopefully get to yours. But we'll see. Continuing on, though. Glad to have you here. Grab us a drink, grab a snack, and we'll continue reading. Tears prickling at his eyes the moment he realized this wasn't how things were supposed to go. Loud sirens of alert began to go off in the control room, and Flannery huddled where he was, shaking and looking around in fear. He went to mumble, but a louder voice spoke before him, calling out to from another part of the ship. Kid, where are you? The voice was Onion's, and even Flannery could tell his tone had been littered with worry. Turns out the moment the kid flung the ship on its side, Onion had been sent flying out of bed. He too had smashed not only a wall, but then up into the room of his room, landing flat on his back and letting out a pained and tired wince, unsure what was happening. Though once realizing the situation at hand, he had immediately gone in search of Flannery in the room he left him in. Navigating the ship with it now on its side was difficult, but the knight had managed. Though, when the kid's bed was empty, Onion had felt his gut twist in anxiety. He rushed around to further look for the kid, calling out to him. Thankfully, he heard Flannery's small voice call back to him. Onion! He wept. The knight in question could tell the kid was crying, and made his way to the control room as fast as he could. He could feel the ship was beginning to break the stratosphere. The metal of the ship was heating up, and Onion winced as his feet rushed across the ground. He'd hoped that Flannery was alright, but given the control room was in the front of the ship, the head of it now heading down to the planet. It was obvious that once Onion had looked up into the room, it had been far hotter than the rest of the ship. Kid? He called out, but his eyes immediately looked down to see that Flannery had been sitting cradled on the wall of the ship, which had now become the floor of its current angle. The kid was crying and whining, and Onion could only have guessed it was due to him sitting on the burning metal. Flannery almost hadn't paid him any heed, too lost in his anguish. Kid, hold on! I'm coming! Onion leapt down from where he was, standing down towards Flannery, immediately scooping the kid up in his arms. Onion! It's so hot! Hot! Flannery had buried his face into the knight's arms, wincing as his entire backside had been burnt from contact with the hot metal. Even Onion had cringed at the sight, but his mind wasn't able to linger on the kid for long. The moment his feet hit the ground and the burning sensation went through him as well, falling to the equivalent of his knees as he failed to stand under the immense heat. He grit his teeth hard, then started to pant from dehydration. The pressure of the heat and gravity began to kick in as they broke the sound barrier, and the knight found he couldn't stop sweating. His tongue was craving the taste of water, but the heat only persisted on. Flannery cried more in the knight's arms, though it was clear he couldn't form tears with the high density of heat in the command room. What? I didn't mean to, was all the kid was thinking. An apology for this was the last thing Onion was expecting, though that seemed to confirm to him that the kid had been messing with the controls, which is why the ship spun off course. Onion winced in pain, feeling his feet unable to hold him any longer, falling to the floor but being sure to keep Flannery away from the metal. His breathing was so heavy, but all he could think to do was reassure the kid. It's fine. This isn't... He tried, feeling his left side going numb from the contact with the burning metal. Another sound barrier was broken, and Onion glanced at the window to catch the color blue. They were in the atmosphere now. Most likely they'd make impact with Snowstar shortly. I can protect you! The knight winced and concentrated his mind as best as he could, allowing a small light to form around the two. It blew around like a rose and engulfed the two in a spherical protective barrier. Onion was breathing heavily, trying to savor his breaths with their limited oxygen inside the barrier, but it had been so hard to do so. Flannery's eyes were shut tight, crying softly into the night. Onion, he mumbled. Sorry, I'm gonna do that again. Also, hi, Shao. Welcome to the stream. I'm gonna clear my throat. Onion, he mumbled, a croaking small voice. And all the older knight felt he could do was cradle the kid in his arms. He kept him close and mumbled the quietest thing to him. It'll be all right, kid. The spaceship had then made contact with Snowstar. Yes, also the asthma powers. Onion has asthma powers. It had been a wintry day on Snowstar, which was how most days were. The sun was sometimes out, but even so, the air was always cold. A layer of snow always seemed to cover the grass, if there was any left. Some types of grass on the Snowstar had grown resilient to the cold weather, but a lot of it had died and withered away. It was only so lucky no one could tell with the amount of snow everywhere. Though, on such a day as this, wintry came with the chance of hail later on, sat the figure of a penguin. He sat down in the shade, leaning against Gaia. Who was Gaia? Not a person, no. Gaia was a tree that stood standing in the center of Snowstar. The thing took hours to walk around fully. It had grown to be so massive over the years, it was given the name Gaia by one of the kings of Snowstar a few dozen millennia ago. However, stories are told that this tree had predated the very written history of Snowstar itself. No one knew why exactly the tree had been alive for so long. Even in the planet's weather, this tree was one of the few that grew resistant to cold weather. Its leaves did not wither at all, and to this day stood as one of the oldest trees potentially in the entire universe. Though the penguin resting beneath Gaia found he couldn't help but be curious of the tree's origin. To him, this tree was more than merely his favorite sleeping spot. It was somewhere along the west side of Gaia's trunk, where an old rock or tablet of sorts, where there had been an engraving inscribed upon it. Sorry, I'm clear my throat. A relic or something of the past that the penguin would never truly understand, but found it intriguing. It wasn't written in a language he knew, though. The penguin could simply sense the resolution and tranquility left in the message. Peaceful day, right, Gaia? The penguin had asked the tree. He had his hand crossed behind his head as he took in the day, mumbling another thing to him. least you're doing better than Fossa, the penguin. The penguin had then glanced to his left, and to the east of Gaia was the shadowing figure of another tree. Fossa, though was much smaller than Gaia, had withered. It also adorned the remnants of an old house near the base of its trunk. The penguin had assumed that both trees were of similar age, but one clearly had not dealt with the planet's shift in weather quite as well as Gaia had. The penguin sighed. His father would call him a twit or even a simpleton for his over-attachment to trees of all things. Love that sound. But they were just so fascinating to the penguin. For a planet of ice and sleet, to have something like Gaia still living on it to be living on it felt to be a miracle. Though the penguin supposed there were silly things to be questioning. Dozen! Suddenly there was a loud shout, and the penguin in question, whose name was most likely Dozen, given the fact he responded to the call, looked up to catch the sight of a small pink Waddle Dee rushing up to him. He blinked twice. He blinked once, twice, unsure what her deal was today of all days. Winter, what is it now? Not even more bad guys for me to beat up, I hope. I've had enough of heroing for now, he tried to explain. Dozen Dee was his full name, and he was the current prince of Wonderland. His father, Elpheus Dee, was the current king, and was a pain when it came to enforcing the royal crown to his son. Dozen didn't wish to inherit such a title, and instead spent his time beating up bad guys and protecting people living in the Winterland from threats. He'd built up a sort of name for himself by now. Rumors that he'd be the next hero of Winterland. Apparently, they'd not had one in a long while. Particular chat, Torcat, I don't feel so good. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. I don't want to go. Same vibe. Hope you feel better though, buddy. Still, Dozen cast his everlasting monologue aside to tend to his friend. Winter looked, panicked, and she had a nub gesturing at the sky. No, it doesn't. Nothing like that. Don't tell me you haven't seen it. She gestured up in the sky with a worrisome look on her face. A comet. Is there a comet or maybe it's a meteor, but something is headed right toward us. At her words, Dozen looked up and caught sight of what the Waddle Dee was referring to. It was true that the southwest part of the sky was something heading down towards Winterland. If Dozen had to guess, it'd most likely be on Wafer Waterfront, which wasn't all that far from where the two currently were. Okay. I think someone just hold on. I think someone just needs something real quick. Chat, give me like a few minutes real quick. I gotta answer this thing real quick. And I will be back in one moment. Take a mini break right here. Sorry about that. 1 second.
Boyo.
Okay, I'm back. All right, continue on. Continuing on. I'll give Roman a few seconds. I see it. So, what are you suggesting I do, The penguin asked, knowing well that if Winter had bothered coming to make the comment known to him, she most likely wanted the soon-to-be official hero of Winterland to get off his lazy butt and do something about it. It figures. Nothing in particular, doesn't? She tried to defend herself, though and did tap her nubs together nervously. It's just, when it lands, someone should investigate it, don't you think? What if it's an intergalactic villain this time? You'll have to... She started, though it doesn't finish her sentence. Save the day again, he said. And she nodded quickly. Wasn't all that thrilled about checking the comet, though as he watched up at the sky and made note how close it was getting, he tilted his head nervously. I think it's gonna crash land. But Penguin was cut off. Instead, forced to witness everything he predicted. The comet came down and pierced the light right where Dozen had assumed it would. Wafer waterfront. The impact left a massive shockwave. Though at the distance Dozen and Winter were at, they had only felt a gust of wind go over them. Yeep. Oh my! Winter let out a worried squeak and hid behind Dozen as the shockwave sound settled down after the impact with the comet. She was worried about what it could have possibly have been, though not long after Dozen stood up from his spot, stretching a bit and giving a yawn. All right. Let's check it out. He gave in and decided to investigate the site. Admittedly, there was a small part of Dozen as well that wished to know just what was going on with this comet, but it didn't exactly want the others to know he was stoked about going to see it. He played it off coolly and started to head in the direction of the crash site. It had been cold, but the closer they got, surprisingly, the warmer it was in the atmosphere. Dozen had almost wanted to take off the winter coat he normally wore to increase temperature, but he chose not to and continued his way there. After a while, they'd gotten close enough that the two could make out what exactly had landed. Edging on the side of the crater, spotting that in the center of it had been a spaceship of sorts. Dozen held his breath as he looked over. He'd never seen a vehicle like this. Snowstar had somehow fallen in behind the technology, and so witnessing such a spacecraft seemed incomprehensible. Whoa! Let's get a better look, Dozen decided to rather impulsively. He hopped over the edge of the crater and skidded down the sides of it carefully. The rock was still warm from the recent crash landing, but thankfully, the time it had taken for them to reach the site and the time it was to cool off, and it wasn't hard for it to be given the wintry climate. Winter followed after Dozen, and the two then stood only a few feet away from the spacecraft. Dozen's eyes sparkled a bit at the sight, in complete awe of it. Amazing, he muttered. Though the moment he opened his eyes, there was a very sudden sound of a bang against one of the ship's walls. Eep! What that? Winter had practically leapt to Dozen's shoulders for safety, When the penguin summoned his wacky hammer, it was stylized after a classic toy hammer. But it sure did pack a punch. Still doesn't raise the hammer up defensively to ensure just what would emerge from the ship until... Bang! One of the ship's walls came down, and out of the smoke and dust of the metal falling on the ground was a single figure. A species that neither Dozen or Winter had ever seen before. Oh, I lost where I was. Okay. Who Dozen had mumbled quietly to himself. His hammer was still risen defensively in front of himself and towards the stranger, who in question took some tired and worn steps towards the two. Who Dozen had mumbled quietly to himself. His hammer still risen defensively in front of himself and toward the stranger, who in question took some tired and worn steps toward the two. Please, was the strained voice of that the newcomer gave, and Dozen lowered his hammer a little, noticing the individual was carrying something in his arms. It was orange. It had bat wings. It was a child. Hey, whoa! Is that a kid? Dozen almost without hesitation dismissed his hammer and rushed to the stranger and the kid. He saw the individual raise his gloves ever so slightly, offering the kid to Dozen. Help him, the stranger choked out, and Dozen took hold of the figure of the kid as soon as he could. Though the moment he had the muscles in the stranger's body. The moment he had the muscle in the stranger's body gave out, and he collapsed on the rubble around him. Dozen's sweat dropped, using a glove to try and shake the newcomer back awake. Hey, are you all right? Can you hear me? He tried, but the stranger had lost consciousness. His breaths were quiet and slow, and the kid in a dozen arms was not doing any better. Both of them seemed to have been through hell and back crash landing in that ship. Not to mention their backsides and faces were littered with first and second degree burns. If anything, Dozen was surprised there were no third degree burns. He had not had the context that the stranger's barrier had protected the two from suffering anything so fatal. Dozen, we have to get to the castle, right? Your father's castle has an infirmary, doesn't it? It's closer than any town in Winterland. Winter had then tried to reason, snapping Dozen from his thoughts. He blinked once, then twice, and gave a nod to his friend, swiftly scooping up the stranger from the ground and carrying him and a kid in his arms. Right, let's go. It's another day for hearing, for Dozen Didi. We have to save these two, he declared, and picked up his pace to race out of the crater, making his way to the Winter Castle. Dozen had to glance down at the two burn-ridden strangers in his arm. Feeling worry spread across his face. All he could think to mumble was one thing. Whoever you two are, it's all right now. Everything will be okay. So hi, Pixel, welcome to the stream. That's it for the chapter. Woo! I think that's it for all of Dawnlight's Respite, actually. I don't think there's any more chapters for Dawnlight Respite. I think that's it. Chapter 3 is the end of that. Alright, everyone come gather back if we're here. What do we think of that? Peak. Definitely peak. Most definitely peak. I asked this earlier, but what story will be read next? So we'll do Bendy's next, and after that, whoever's here. So if you're here, we'll read your stories after Bendy's. If you're not here, we'll go to a different person, or we do games. I'm surprised the story is not... Okay, this... Cookie, how long do you take to write these? Quick question. When will the story be finished? That's what I need to know. No, that's just the most recent one. It is. It is. I think if we read more of your stories, you still need to add more. We can definitely do EE. Because EE would probably be a really good story to get to. Also, I really like the Line for Spite. Yeah, with the Line Spite, it's good. I still have more to write, Lamau. Yeah. Goku, drop this school, okay? You got more Kirby stories to write for us, alright? If you don't stop right now, get your ass back to work. Back to work. Benny says, don't worry. There are 2 chapters back to back that are both each 8 pages long, so it won't take forever to read. Okay, 8 pages is not bad. We can probably do that. I got all 3 launcher items from the classic event. You're just built different, Pixel. You're actually just built different. Flair says, I understand, Torque. I will be here. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Coco's, don't ask me that, man. But don't worry. There'll be another chapter by next week. Okay. No, unfortunate. We need our chapters. We need our content. He means that'll be 16 pages. Yeah. Let me see if I can open up real quick. Benny, can you send me a story real quick? While we're doing that, I'm gonna go grab something again real quick. Everyone take a little snack break. It is time. Grab a little drink, grab a little snack. And also, yeah. Benny, send me the story and I'll probably read it once I get back. Everyone give me one moment. And I will be back soon. Woo! I'm back. Hello. Also, yes, I'll be right back. No worries, Flair. Also, damn it, thank you. Okay, because I don't know. I think it's pinned, but I forgot where it was. Ta-da! Okay. Yo, here, what up? FNAF guy 1236. What the hell? I think. Did you change your name or I haven't seen you in a while? Wait, hold on. It's been a while. Yep, I think your last message was when we played FNAF, which was almost it was like half a year ago. Welcome to the stream. Hello. Glad you remember me. Well, I know. Well, if you're FNAF guy 1236, it's not like you probably came from like the Roblox community when you played Roblox. I mean, well, actually, no, you could have been actually. Yeah, FNAF is pretty popular in Roblox, but you get the point. I definitely remember you. Got other 2 items from Inception Time, a Roblox admin. Wait, a Roblox admin gave you items? Dude, Pixel, you're actually so good. What the fuck? I've gained a lot of subscribers? Oh, nice. Brilliant, Lamar. Also, I got this thing, I think it's like Dippin' Dots, but you can buy at the store. You know what Dippin' Dots are? They're delicious. I bet 7,000? Yo, nice! That's more than me now. Although I'm trying to work on getting more content again. I recently posted a Kinito or Kinito VOD and I had it edited by someone. So I think we're trying to just do stream highlights, VODs, or VOD highlights for our YouTube channel. And eventually we'll get like a mix up with like higher content stuff. I think good. Me too. Oh, cool. Yeah. I was giving people all 3 of them, but I only needed 2 because I already had developer slice. Oh, damn. I bet the admin was like, huh. I was like, holy shit, you got 1 of them already? Dude, you're fucking goated or something. Like, it seemed like everyone else didn't have it. I got the items in the final 2 minutes before the classic ended. Nice. Dude, Pixel, you gotta show them off. I actually gotta take a look at inventory. We'll take a screenshot of them or something. I'm curious what items they are. I'm not that much into the Roblox community, so I'm kind of like want to see like what you had. Also, welcome back, Flair. You'll definitely be able to get through both chapters 4 and 5 today. Probably. We'll go over 2 hours. So I'm right here. Let me. Do I have it set up properly? Alright, so let's see. Chapter 4. Yeah, it's probably fine. I'll trim the right side a little bit. Do a little trimming. Hold on. 200, like 230. Bam, perfect. Alright, cool. Alright. Yeah, I got the developer slice from a Twin Atlas developer. Twin Atlas is a game, right? Benny, don't comment with him. Hey, I'm a very fast reader. Or at least I try. I could try reading faster. Do you guys actually want me to start reading faster? Like, if that is okay, I'll start reading faster. Like 100%. Oh, it's a group. Oh, Twin Atlas Maps group. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. There. How delicious. Alright, let me ask you right now. Now you're good? You sure? I can like double the speed. If you guys want, I can double the speed. Don't force us to read faster. Well, I'm kind of curious now. Benny, you think we'll get through the chapters really fast? I'll make sure we get through it fast. And if you guys think it's too fast, I'll stop it. You want to change some of the music because it's more cinematic? Okay. I'll find something cinematic. What are the badges? No, work. Yeah, I made a new badge today. Oh, nice. Okay, I'm trying some different music. What's some dramatic music? Dark food ASMR food moment. Dude, I'm telling you, when we hit a certain goal, I'm just going to be having an ASMR stream where I open up a bag of chips on stream. I'm going to eat it. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. Since when we start doing more face cam stuff, I'll probably have my face cam on. You guys can just watch me eat that bag of chips. I have a dead face. I'll reply to nothing in the chat and I'll get a bag of chips. 100% gonna happen. I'm sure. What's a cinematic? Hype Persona music. I can vibe with this. Oh, Persona 3 Reload music. Oh, damn, it's just a banger. Okay. Don't read fast, please. You can't stop me. It's okay, man. I've learned the ways of food ASMR from youth. Oh, I got you. My student. I've taught you everything I could. Now, go to your stream and make me proud. Oh, gosh. I actually dare you. Double dog dare you to read fast? Bet. Bet. I'm such a bad influence. If I was a bigger influencer, like streamer, I would be such a bad influence on like the streaming platform. Like people like you said last time. Toro just starts to stream by drinking water and eating food all the time. So I can do that too. I'm like, wow. I don't know. I don't know if you should, but that's what I do. Brilliant. Okay, but I have to class now, so I'll see you later. Oh, no worries. See ya, Koku. Have a great day. Have fun in class. And thank you for joining the stream. See ya. I'm gonna say bye-bye. Please don't read faster than this stuff. I never miss stuff. But bye-bye, Koku. I'll catch you in the next stream. Thank you for joining. At least you make every Reading Wednesday stream now. You woke up early today. I appreciate that. Waking up early is hard. Bye-bye. Okay. Yeah. Adios, hombre, dona rosa, or something like that. I don't know. Something. Alright. I can't, besides the fact that I am not, bilingual, let's get on to the reading stream. Alright. So, I'm gonna start reading faster. If it actually becomes an issue, I will take a peek in chat and you guys let me know, okay? Alright. Oh no, reading. Oh, FNAF guy, if you don't like reading, you generally don't have to stay. This is like, it's Wednesdays are our reading streams because we have a dedicated day. So, grab a drink, grab a snack, feel free to listen in. If you don't like reading, not a big deal. You know, you can always hop off the stream or feel free to do whatever. I don't like holding people to, like, you know, yeah. I don't mind. I'm not here much. Oh, okay. Well, hope you enjoy it then. We're going to start reading a little bit faster, a little bit hyper than usual. So, grab your drinks and snacks. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. It's okay, young one. That's okay. I have no intention of hurting you. A voice spoke to him. He backed up into a cold corner as he looked down at his white hospital gown, which was covered in blood. He felt himself begin to hyperventilate. As he looked at his hands, the left hand was slightly pale, while the right hand was metallic and silver. He felt something moving quickly into his chest, so he pulled the collar forward to see a maroon, fleshy object pulsating under the metallic rib cage that had wires dangling from each rib. Just then, he saw an orange eye glow in the darkness. It came closer to him as he saw a silver robot, covered in dirt and oil, walk closer to him. The robot wore a leather cloak that had holes in it, which made it easier to see the rusted gears that turned and creaked with a metallic rib cage, and heart to represent a normal person's rib cage and heart. A golden disc sat near its neck and held its hood, cape, and leather cloak together, was scratched up and chipped. It wore an amulet that had a golden outline with a logo in its center. The logo was a large, thick red X with a large, thick red line going horizontally above it. The robot seemed to have a metallic spearhead for its right hand, but a robot hand with 5 sharp claws for its left. It kneeled down in front of him and looked at him as it grew a caring smile on its face. Unlike him, it had a fully robotic head and body, yet its head was rounded and it almost looked like a mannequin head. He looked at the robot and felt himself begin to cry. What am I?" he yelled in anguish. The robot looked at him and spoke in a gravelly and static-filled voice.
"Part of an experiment, just like I was."
He looked at the bot, noticing it had only its right eye as wires hung from its left eye socket, with small red sparks flashing from the wires every so often. I'm what?" he asked nervously.
"I know it's a hard concept to grasp, but you are a cyborg clone of someone. Someone who even has the flesh of a completely innocent human you may never get to know. You now are a creation from a sick and twisted man who will use you as his puppet,"
it told him. If I'm a clone, do I have a name?" he wondered. It sighed as it helped him up from the ground.
"Your name is Cyborg John. You're the cyborg clone of a man named Jonathan Marksman III.
It answered. Cyborg John looked down at his hands and then back at the robot. Then who are you?" he questioned. The hunter looked shocked and steadied himself. Me?
Me? I was given the name The Hunter by my creator, but I supposedly have a codename that is my real name. What it is remains unknown to me,"
the hunter stated. Cyborg John looked down at his hands again and took a deep breath as he calmed down. Why do I remain unfinished? He pondered. The hunter looked over at him and smiled slightly.
"You ran away from our experiments, which caused you to remain unfinished. However, I plan to save you and make you better than whatever robot that man was going to do."
He reached out his hand to Cyborg John and gave a friendly smirk.
"That is, if you allow me to become your savior."
Robot John looked at the hunter's hand, then looked at his own hands. He grabbed the hunter's hand and smiled.
"You will be the perfect cyborg clone, young one."
The hunter smiled. You will be the perfect cyborg clone. Cyborg Opal pushed the door open as she looked around the darkened city. Not a single light was on. That freak must have knocked all the power out with that overcharge, she muttered to herself. Just then, her ears perked as she heard talking in the darkness. She walked over to the sound of it and eventually found herself on the porch of a small suburban house, just a few feet away from the mansion. She took a deep breath as she knocked on the door. After a couple of minutes, a woman who looked like just like her stood at the door in a dark gray bathrobe with fuzzy gray slippers on. She wore a sling on her left arm and held a lantern in her right. Hi there, Cyborg Opal nervously spoke. Hey, Opal, who's that? John stopped speaking as soon as he walked next to Opal and saw what she was seeing. Why are you two in the doorway and gawking? Gerardo asked. John quietly waved over at him. As soon as Gerardo arrived, he saw what they were looking at. Did I arrive at a bad time? She asked the three. Opal and John looked at each other and nodded, and she and Gerardo looked at each other and nodded. John grabbed Cyborg Opal's arm and dragged her into the house. As Gerardo looked around to make sure nobody else was witnessing this interaction, as well as then quickly closed the door and locked it. Okay, who the hell are you? Opal growled. Cyborg Opal nervously chuckled. My name is Cyborg Opal. I am a cyborg clone of you.
At least, that's what I was going to become. However, I got locked in the cellar with the others and became a reject.
She explained to the three. What is a reject? Why should we care? Opal did not believe anything her cyborg counterpart was saying. Cyborg Opal sighed with a noticeable shaky breath.
A reject is what we other cyborg clones call ourselves. We were the ones who did not fit what our creator wanted us to do, so we were left to rot in the cellar below and waited until the day we finally died.
Cyborg Opal told them, but that day seemingly was never coming. Not until he showed up and took over. Oh, that's wrong. The three looked at each other, then back at Cyborg Opal. And by he, do you mean Charlington?
1224 says Cyborg Opal has the same voice as Opal, W.W.W.
Okay, my bad. My bad. Alright. I'll use the same voice then. I use the same voice. Well, it's not like she could be different. I'm just saying. Okay. And by he, do you mean Charlington? John asked. Why does Cyborg John and John have different voices then? Yeah, I'm not even questioning. Cyborg Opal shook her head, which immensely concerned the trio. No, Charlington may have created us, but he was never dangerous. He is much more powerful than Charlton ever wished to be. Cyborg Opal held herself, wishing it would help her calm down. The three looked at each other, then at Cyborg Opal, who was visibly shaking in fear. I lost everything because of him. My friends, my sister, my home, she whimpered. Opal stepped closer and placed her right hand on her cyborg counterpart's right shoulder. Just then, without any warning, Cyborg Opal hugged her as she cried. John and Gerardo looked at each other, then walked over to the two as they joined in on the hug. I lost everyone and everything because of that monster, she cried as Opal gently patted her metallic back. All Opal could do was feel sorry for her. She understood the pain. I understand the pain, young one, but I must promise that you will eventually become something more powerful than even the one who bleeds will ever be. Oh, that's not true. No.
I understand the pain, young one, but I must promise you, you will eventually become something more powerful than the one who bleeds will ever be,
the hunter stated as he grabbed the human heart from Cyborg John's chest and ripped it out, causing blood to splatter. Cyborg John felt every artificial muscle in his body tense up in pain. The hunter threw the heart to the ground, then looked at the metallic spearhead, which slowly opened up like a Venus flytrap. Yet a small, yet long needle raised from its center. Without any warning, he swiftly stabbed the needle to Cyborg John's right eye and ripped out a human eye with a loud squish. Cyborg John felt his breathing get louder and heavier as he attempted not to scream in pain.
Do not worry. I will give you the parts that are much better than the one he gave you,
the hunter stated. Cyborg John let his eye follow the needle as the hunter brought it close to his face and stared at the eye that was on the tip of it. He ripped it off and threw the eye to the ground as he walked from Cyborg John's right side to behind his head. Cyborg John looked up as he saw the hunter and the needle looming over him.
This next step is something you will not remember, but when you wake up, you will be something much greater than that twisted man could ever dream of,
the hunter spoke calmly, which was followed by the needle being stabbed into Cyborg John's forehead as his vision faded and it all went to black. Cyborg John looked around at an empty void of nothingness, but he could hear a voice echoing in the distance. He got up off the ground and ran toward the voice until he came face to face with a short and fat man who sat in the corner in a recliner, reading a book that had the title, The Most Dangerous Game, on the front cover. He had long gray hair that went down to the middle of his back, and a long gray beard that went down to his stomach. He had a rounded face with a rounded, bumpy nose. His skin was slightly tan, with multiple wrinkles that were on his face. He looked over at Cyborg John and smiled slightly. I have played Fox. Now I must play the cat of the fable, he read, as he closed the book and placed it on a small table to his right. Then he got up from his recliner. He walked over to Cyborg John and examined him. It was only then Cyborg John could see that the man was a few inches shorter than him, and his right eye was more of a white color than his left eye, signifying he was blind in that eye. The man wore a white tank top with black shorts that showed off his chubby and hairy legs and pink classic slip-on slippers. So, you finally decided to show up, eh? The man spoke in a gruff and booming Irish accent. Cyborg, I don't know if I can do an Irish accent. We'll practice that later. Cyborg John examined him and raised an eyebrow. Who the hell are you? Actually, better question. He looked around the emptiness around him. Where the hell are we? The man laughed loudly, yet cheerfully. Oh, I thought you'd never ask. I'm actually a friend of yours. But for now, you can refer to me as Kane O'Damian. Diamane. Kane for short. A pleasure to meet ya, Kane stated. Cyborg John smiled slightly as he looked at Kane. Oh, Diamane? Why do I recognize that name? He asked. Kane chuckled and smiled. You might know it. You might know. Oh, it's an Irish accent. Sorry, hold on. I'm just gonna skip the Irish accent until I remember it. You might know it from that young girl Charles adopted, Jane O'Diamond, he told Cyborg John. Wait, how do you know my creator's name? Cyborg John wondered. Kane smiled slightly and motioned for Cyborg John to follow him as he started to walk away from him. Come on now, lad. I got some explaining to do, Kane mentioned calmly. The two walked away from the recliner and further into the void. After a little while, the laboratory faded around them as they walked down the hallway with glass windows on either side of them, which had people behind each glass window, as if they were living in these rooms. Where are we now? Cyborg John asked. Kane chuckled slightly as he looked both ways while he walked. This is what I call the Techno Labs. A place where your creator wishes he had access to nowadays. This is where different people are taken through experiments to test themselves for the modern world and potential future. Of course, I'll say potential because, well, he looked over to his right to see two medics carrying somebody out of a room in a body bag. Not everyone was ready for this type of world, I suppose. Cyborg John looked around until they stopped in front of a window with two girls on the other side of it. Kane looked at them through the window and smiled. Who are these two? Cyborg John looked down at them. Kane chuckled softly and said, My two girls. The two watched the two girls have an imaginary tea party. The taller girl with black hair and glasses pretended to drink the tea that was in her plastic cup, while the shorter girl with black hair laughed. That taller one is Opal. She always made sure Jane was so happy after their mother left, Kane said. Cyborg John looked around the room and the other side of the window to see it was a wooden bedroom with two beds in the right corner, one longer than the other, with a wooden dresser in between them. The wall behind the beds was covered with different drawings of such things, such as the doors, outdoors, butterflies, space, animals, etc. The lamp sat on the dresser was shaped like a crescent moon that had sat on the black pole that was attached to a small black base. The small wooden table the two sat at was placed in front of the window with a small circular purple carpet underneath it. A purple chest that said Toys on its front sat at the end of the shorter bed. Why don't they see us? Cyborg John asked. Kane stated, What they see is a wall, and that's it. They never questioned it, and we didn't talk about it. Cyborg John put his left hand on the window and examined it. realizing that it had some holographic features to it. This is really fascinating. How did you find the time and technology to do this? Cyborg John pondered. I was working on this before I met their mother. Once she found out about this, and later discovered I wanted to conduct this on her own kids, she left their lives. I took over and brought them to what they believed was their home, Kane answered. Cyborg John looked closer at the room through the window. He looked back at Kane and asked, "What exactly is this?" Kane chuckled softly as he watched the two girls giggle and clink their plastic cups together. "It was to see who survived the longest. Herbert Spencer once believed there is such a thing as survival of the fittest. So I decided to make that true. All these people here were just like these two. They're only kids. They're the rejects of parents who didn't love them. When they survived for long enough, we realized they were ready for the outside world, so we put them up for adoption. There was a price to it all too," Kane explained. "What is that supposed price?" Cyborg John questioned. Kane's smile grew widely and chuckled. "Becoming the child of Jollington himself. Whoever performed the best in these conditions will get to live their life with the main man himself. The golden award that was given for surviving in this hell for so long," Kane stated. Just then, the two heard a bell chime as they watched the two girls get to bed, and the lamp went on as if it were a nightlight. "What was that?" Cyborg John looked around for the source of the chiming. "Oh, that was their alarm clock, just to let them know what time it was. Out there, that was what we heard. But in here, they heard a voice call. They heard a voice call out saying it was ready for bed. Did they ever question it? Nope, they didn't," Kane stated. What followed was a cloud of red mist that filled the room. Then it disappeared after a couple of seconds, and the girls were asleep. "If you don't mind me asking, what was that red mist about?" Cyborg John wondered. "It was to help the children fall asleep faster. We learned the hard way that if we didn't do this, they'd start exploring the rooms and figure out what was really going on. We also added a lavender scent to all of it because we found that lavender was a calming scent, and it helped reduce anxiety in these children," Kane responded. "You did a lot of research for this, didn't you?" "More than you'll ever realize, young one." "Wait, young one. That's what the hunter called me." "And who do you think I am?" Kane smirked. Cyborg John's eyes widened as he made the connection. "Wait, you're..." Cyborg John started to speak, but Kane interrupted him. "Bingo, kid. I'm the ringleader of this hellscape. Whether you realize it or not, I'm dead." Kane laughed, and he motioned for Cyborg John to follow him further down the hallway. The two walked for what seemed like days before Cyborg John finally spoke up again. "So, how old were your kids at this time?" he pondered. Kane looked up at him with tired eyes and smiled softly. "Opal was 12 years old, and Jane was 9 years old. Opal always took care of Jane and made sure they both never got sick. In the end, they survived the longest. Yet Charles took Jane and left Opal behind," Kane mentioned. Cyborg John and Kane entered through a wooden door in the room and a small podium in the middle that held a black medallion. "Now, before you ask, let me tell you what this is for a small example," Kane stated as he walked over to a light switch on the wall with his right hand and flipped it, which turned on a spotlight above the cryo sleep chamber with a man sitting inside it. The man had slightly pale skin and blonde hair that went down to his shoulders. Cyborg John looked carefully at the man in the chamber. "Do you recognize him?" Kane asked. Cyborg John shook his head slightly. Kane snickered as he wondered, "Really? You don't recognize Charlington? Your creator?" Cyborg John backed away from the chamber in shock. Kane nodded firmly as he said, "Yep, back when I worked here, Charlington was only 18 years old when he fell ill, and the only way to save him was to do that." He walked over to the medallion and picked it up from the podium. When I worked here, I was developing this medallion. He held up a medallion to his eye level and looked at it with wonder. And it held the key to keep him young forever. As long as he wore it, the Grim Reaper himself would fear him. I think he let that power get to his head nowadays. Cyborg John looked at the medallion with wide eyes and a small smile. Just then, a small beeping sound could be heard, and Kane looked at Cyborg John with a smile. It seems our time is up, young one. I'll see you on the flip side, Kane said, as he and the room faded back into the void. Suddenly, Cyborg John opened his eyes and realized he was back in the real world. So, he did all of that to you and the other clones? John asked. Cyborg Opal nodded her head slowly. He treated us like animals if we didn't fit in. It was back to our kennels until he decided to put us down. Like he did with my friends and my sister. Everyone died except me, Cyborg Opal stated. Opal tilted her head to the side with a slightly raised eyebrow. I just realized you never specified who he is. You just said he and him and his and all that. Who exactly is he? Opal asked her. Cyborg Opal looked down as she closed her eyes. I don't think you want to know. I didn't want to know, but I had to learn, she commented. Opal brought her head to its regular position as her confused look turned into stern look. Either you tell me who this creep is that knocked out our power. Either you tell me who this creep that knocked out our power is, or I'm throwing you outside and locking you out, she growled. Cyborg Opal looked at Opal with worrisome eyes and softly said, It's your dad. The man who let you live a lie for most of your childhood. Opal's eyes widened as she looked at her cyborg counterpart. What? What do you mean? Our dad? I mean, my dad is dead. How can he still be alive? Opal yelled. Cyborg Opal lifted the thick strand of hair on her left side to reveal wires dangling from what seemed like her robotic brain. You have a laptop, yes? Hook me up to it and I'll reveal what I managed to steal from Cyborg John once, she answered. Opal reached across the table to grab her laptop and scooted it closer to the four of them. Cyborg Opal grabbed the red wire from inside her head, carefully weaved it through the endoskeleton head, and plugged it into the laptop. Just then, a video file was uploaded to Opal's laptop, and she uploaded it, and she opened it. It was then she saw what Cyborg John saw when he was talking with the ghost of Kane while he was knocked out. Opal's eyes widened, and she covered her mouth in shock as she really watched her younger self and even her younger sister have an imaginary tea party. This is really fascinating. How did you find the time and technology to do this? Cyborg John's voice could be heard through the speaker. I was working on this before I met their mother. When she found out about this, and later discovered I wanted to conduct this on her own kids, she left their lives. I took over and brought them to what I believe was their home, Kane answered. Cyborg John looked closer at this room through the window. He looked back at Kane and asked, What exactly is this? Kane chuckled softly as he watched the two girls giggle and clink their plastic cups together. It was to see who will survive the longest. Herbert Spencer once believed that there is such a thing as survival of the fittest, so I decided to make sure that's true. All these people here were just like these two. They're only kids. They're the rejects of parents who didn't love them. When they survived for long enough, we realized they were ready for the outside world, so we put them up for adoption. There was a prize to it all too, Kane explained. What is this supposed prize? Cyborg John questioned. Kane's smile grew widely and chuckled.
becoming the child of Charlton himself. Whoever performed the best in these conditions will get to live their life with the main man himself. The golden award that was given. Okay, I'm gonna skip this. Hold on. Okay. It was to help the children fall asleep faster. We learned the hard way that if we didn't do this, they started exploring the rooms and figuring out what was going on. So we added a lavender scent to it because we found that lavender was a common scent, and that it helped reduce anxiety in these children. Ken responded. Opal slammed the laptop shut. Cyborg Opal unplugged the red wire from the laptop. She weaved it back through her head and retracted it back into her robotic brain. That bitch, that bastard, that unforgiving asshole made us think we were living the good life. And for what? To put us up as trophies? Opal slammed her fist on the table as she felt tears begin to roll down her cheeks from anger and sorrow. She got up from the table and started to walk away out of the kitchen. As she said, "If anyone needs me, I'll be in my room. Don't fucking bother me, okay?" The three nodded as she stomped her way down the hall, with slamming of a door that followed a couple seconds later. The three couldn't speak. They had no idea how to process what had happened, what they had witnessed. Everything about her life was revealed to her in those couple of minutes. After a few minutes, Cyborg Opal got up and slowly walked to Opal's room, then knocked on the door. She waited a few seconds before Opal finally said through the other side of the door, "It's open." Cyborg Opal walked into her room to see Opal sitting at the foot of the bed, looking at a framed picture of her, Jane, and Kane as a happy family. She had tears slowly running down her cheeks as she looked longingly at the picture. Cyborg Opal sat next to her as she looked at the picture she was holding. "This is what I thought my family was like. Just a caring father trying to keep his daughters happy. I should have known that was something else was going on." Opal spoke softly. She threw the framed picture on the ground aggressively, and the glass shattered. "Now I know it's just a fucking lie. I went to a broken home all because of some experiment. I could have lived a better life if my dad hadn't decided to use us as lab rats." Opal growled. Cyber Opal looked up at her with caring eyes. "I know your life was complete hell, and I will never understand the pain that you went through, as I never experienced it myself. But what I do know is that the things have changed since then," Cyborg Opal mentioned. Opal looked at her, and she wiped the tears from her eyes. "Oh, really? What exactly has changed, now that I know this horrible truth?" Opal sarcastically asked in anger. Cyborg Opal shook her head. "No. What's changed that you have great friends who care for you, like they've cared for their own family members." Cyborg Opal pointed to the doorway to see Gerardo and John standing there with John shyly waving. Opal smiled slightly as she looked at them. Cyborg Opal gave a friendly chuckle. "I'll never understand what it's like to walk in your shoes, but I understand that there is a future that's waiting on you and your friends to be the heroes that defeat this villain," Cyber Opal said. Opal looked at her with a friendly smile. "Thank you. That actually helped," Opal stated. Cyber Opal scoffed and chuckled. "It was no biggie," she laughed. Opal wrapped her arm around her cyborg counterpart's back and hugged her, which Cyborg Opal did the same. Do you recognize this spot?" Charlton asked as he and Quinn walked to a tree that was lit up by the moonlight. Quinn nodded his head, seeming a bit more sober than he was when they left the restaurant. The two sat down at the small hill that the tree sat on and smiled.
I remember we talked for hours at this spot. You'd play your guitar. I'd listen to whatever song you'd play. It was peaceful, Quinn commented. Charlton nodded his head and chuckled. Quinn chuckled as well and looked to his right at Charlton, who was stargazing. You know, when you unexpectedly moved away during our senior year... Hold on. You know, when you unexpectedly moved away during our senior year, it made me feel bad. However, I didn't move on. I just kept my memories of you in a box and enjoyed what we had. Quinn smiled softly. Charlton looked down from the stars as he sighed. Look, Quinn, about that. Can I talk to you? Charlton nervously spoke. Quinn's smile faded as he looked at Charlton and nodded slowly. Before Charlton could even speak, a figure wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black tennis shoes, and black linen gloves walked up to the two. Hi there. What do you want? What do you want? Charlton cautiously asked. The figure leaned down as they opened their left hand to reveal that they were holding a black medallion that had the logo of a large, thick red X, with a large, thick red line going horizontally above it, engraved into the medallion. The medallion seemed to have small burn marks on it, making it look charred. Charlton's eyes widened as he looked at the medallion, then up at the mysterious figure. Go on now. Take it. You deserve to wear it. The figure's voice sinisterly spoke. Charlton shakily took the medallion and put it around his neck. Quinn watched as he tried to find the question to ask, but he couldn't. Just as Charlton put it on, small red sparks started to fly as he proceeded to get zapped by the medallion. He tried to rip it off, but he couldn't as he fell to his side in the grass. Quinn quickly moved closer to him, checking his vitals and making sure he was still alive. Chuck, are you okay? Please be okay, he yelled out in a shocked state. The figure stood in front of both of them, looming over them. Just then, Charlton's eyes opened slowly and Quinn started to relax. Chuck, are you okay? Say something, please, he asked. Charlton stood up from the ground and looked around his surroundings. He looked over at Quinn, who gave a soft yet nervous smile. Without warning, Charlton grabbed Quinn by the arm and threw him into the concrete path that sat a few feet down from the hill they sat on. Quinn grunted in pain as he slowly sat up to wipe the blood from his nose. The figure walked over to Quinn, lifted him by the collar of his shirt, and raised him to their eye level. The figure pulled their hood off, and Quinn's eyes widened as he recognized the figure's face. You're Chuck's understudy. You're Quinn tried to finish his sentence, but the figure finished his sentence. Cyborg John. Yes, that's exactly who I am. It's such a pleasure to meet you again, Mr. Octavio. Cyborg John sinisterly chuckled. Charlton walked next to Cyborg John, and Quinn noticed that there were burn marks going from the base of Charlton's neck down to underneath his tuxedo collar. Charlton wore a plastered sinister smirk on his face as he looked up at Quinn. Chuck, what happened to you? I thought we had something! Quinn yelled, and Charlton laughed. You thought we had something? If I remember correctly, Quinn, I tried to kill you so long ago. Then I proceeded to lie to you about the fact that I threw that paperweight of a human off of that hill. Yet you believed that we had a connection again. That's incredible. It really is. Charlton smirked. He motioned for Cyborg John to lower Quinn to the ground. He nodded as he threw him to the concrete path again. Charlton walked over to Quinn and looked down at him. Quinn looked up at him with blood streaming from both his nose and mouth. Charlton gave a devilish smile as he swiftly kicked Quinn in the face, causing him to roll a few feet away from where he laid. I applaud you for being so naive, Quinn. Your innocence is adorable, but it will not get you far in this world. For being a detective of the law, you should have figured out that this was all a play. Now look at you. You're just the jester. Charlton spoke as he walked over to Quinn, who struggled to get up. Quinn managed to weakly stand up as he looked at Charlton as he wiped away the blood from his nose and mouth, which caused his hand to be covered by crimson liquid. You haven't changed a single bit, have you, Chuck? Quinn looked at him as he wiped the tears from his eyes. Charlton swiftly punched Quinn in the stomach, which caused him to fall to his knees and grip his stomach tightly in pain. Not a single bit, Quinn. What may have changed was my plan. But as for my motives, they have always been the same and will continue to be the same. Charlton growled as he looked at Elena Quinn. Cyber John walked up to Charlton as he put his cell phone in his pocket. The ambulance had been called for this location, sir. The ambulance has been called for this location, sir, he stated. And Charlton chuckled. Quinn looked up at the two in pain and anger. Did you hear that, Quinn? You'll be saved soon enough. However, I don't know how much of your blood would be left for them to even recover your consciousness. Charlton spoke sinisterly. Charlton grabbed Quinn's face as he aggressively pushed him backwards to where the back of his head met the concrete, causing a loud crack to be heard. Charlton and Cyber John walked away as blood slowly pooled out of Quinn's head. His vision started to fade as he heard the sounds of sirens come closer and closer with each breath. Just as he thought he could hold out a few seconds longer, his vision faded to black. Everything went dark. It all went dark, and he could do nothing to stop it. Nothing at all. Alright, we're not doing chapter 5. That is chapter 4. We're not doing chapter 5. That took like almost an hour just to get to one chapter, and you said it was short, so we're not doing chapter 5. Pretty good though. I think there was a few things. Okay, I'll give my. I know you always ask Benny for my opinions on the story, and since I don't get the chance to, I don't get the chance to like text in Discord. I'll give my opinions once I see you typing in chat and then you're back. But what do we all think? What do we all also think? I thought that it wouldn't be possible. I had thought it wouldn't be possible. Yeah, I get. You know, your thought is right, Flair. Your thought was right. But Benny, if you're here, I want to give my thoughts. It was not a bad chapter. A few like things I didn't like though, to be honest. I think the main Charles has a bitch mentality. I love him. I don't know what that says, but all right. That aside, it was good. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I think the chapter is good. The few things though, like I said, and the laptop scene where like the dialogue is replayed. Like we just read a whole dialogue between Cyber John and Kane, right? And then the next part where we go back to like Opal and them, it's basically like half of that dialogue with Kane and them. It's just retyped in. I know it's copy and pasted, which I get the point, but I don't think it was executed well. I don't really like that it was repasted, especially when we just read it and if I have to re-say it, like it was way too much to go through the whole thing. And it didn't. I think it didn't really provide much to copy paste the whole thing when you could like wrote in a simple word like just like one sentence from the thing, and I think Opal would have gotten the point. You know what I mean? It just kind of keeps it shorter and to the point. I think that was a little replayed. And a minor nitpick. I think the name of Cyber John, the name Cyber John was given, being Cyber John. I think that's really weird. Cause what if my name is my name is Donut Torque? It's kind of weird. I missed Cyber John's original name that you gave him at the beginning, like in the first chapter. You give him like an actual name. It was like Theseus or something like that, or Prometheus. I don't know. I know those are not the name, but like, he actually gave like Cyber John an actual name. I think that being referenced in this chapter would have been really, really nice, honestly. There's a reasoning behind them being named like that. You say that, but I guess it's a nitpick, but I think it's still kind of like, if I find the reasoning of it, it's just kind of shallow or kind of like, then I'm still gonna be like, okay, you know, like you should just. I think it would have been cooler to like have a reference to their original name that was mentioned in the first chapters. Instead, it's just Cyborg John, which is kind of like when Cyborg John was introduced, he introduced his real name first. I think he said, you can just call me Cyborg John as a nickname, egg on to, hey, I'm actually just John but a cyborg, and it's a nickname. So the fact that it was being referenced as his real name in this chapter felt kind of either like lack of continuity or just like weird. But besides that, like I also didn't like how like the chapter like part of the chapters like on the laptop thing was repeated. Everything else, though, the concept of everything was pretty nice. Quinn dying or basically dying, I don't think he's dead. It was pretty cool. Them meeting Cyborg Opal was kind of nice, but I think I want to know how Cyborg Opal escaped and got to Opal's house. I'd like more like detail on that, but like the fact it wasn't there, so that's fine. But I think more detail on that would have been kind of cool. I agree, yeah. What do you think their names really are? What do you think their names really are? Their code names. Okay, but Cyborg John, all right. As much as it's a good name for understanding who he is, he's Cyborg John. As a quote unquote code name, it's lazy. You know what I mean? Like, what did you call like Diamond? You know, for Opal. Like Opal's like code name is Diamond. Cyborg Opal's code name is Diamond, something like that. And then just Cyborg John's code name would be like Prometheus or something. Trust me, they'll get better. Like the names, or you're saying the names will get better? Cause like how I feel like the story is, you gave the cyborgs 3 names: a Cyborg John name, Cyborg Opal name, then an original name given by the creator, and then another name. Both the names and characters. How are their name? Okay, their names will get better because their name is Cyborg John. Okay, I'll take your word for it, but it feels a bit kind of. I feel like you missed an opportunity. I feel like you missed a really good opportunity to reference the names. There's also a few things where I feel like I was reading like for me personally, I don't like reading sentences. This happens. Okay, I've already mentioned this in Koku's story too. Koku's gone, but I don't like it when like you. What is it? You use the same word twice in a sentence. Like, let's say, oh, he picked up the cardboard box to walk over and drop the cardboard box. I feel like it's like the phrasing of that in a sentence is too repetitive. And that happened a few times, a little bit more in this chapter. I probably happened a few other chapters too, but I'm just like starting to really build up in this one. I just don't like that as a writing sense, because it's just like, it's a mouthful and it's kind of like redundant. But it's not. That's more, I guess, of a nitpick. If people don't mind that, like I guess people don't mind. But that's what I personally feel. But let's say some positive things though. I really liked how Cyborg Opal and Opal had a connection together, because I feel like it's like, you know, the only person who can really reconcile with Opal is, I guess, herself, but a cyborg version. I thought she would be more angry, but like, you're just a cyborg, you don't know anything, and that would be an interesting dynamic to kind of come across. Be like, hey, you're me, but you don't understand me, kind of thing. And the reveal of like, oh yeah, her life was a lie the whole time. That was pretty cool. I like figuring out her father was kind of evil, and he was like Cain and stuff like that. That was cool. I had to reset stream, so I am back. Oh, welcome back, Flare. If it helps, kind of chapter 4 is kind of a filler. It adds lore, but that helps. That doesn't, okay. It hasn't changed anything to me if it's still a filler or not a filler. Like, I mean, my matter of fact still stands. I had a few nitpicks like that, or I had a few points like that in like other chapters too, but I was like, I think I'll just like look over it. Because you said like, hey, I'll take your word for it. Later in the chapters, it'll make more sense or to get better. So, but I think it's just things you'll probably want to like take note of. That's like points. I'm not saying like it's bad or anything. I just like just general points that I like to like point out, or general points I like to mention. So, yeah. Hopefully I think we enjoyed it though. Very good chapter. I think overall it was very good, fun to read. So yeah. I think we're Flare story to get to too. Let's take a deep breath, dude. Reading for 3 hours is like, ugh. Oh yeah, no, I'm not even the biggest fan of chapter 4. I thought it was nice. I think it was like better. I think it served a decent, good purpose. For my case, we're in 17C, so Flare. Okay, well, let me get there 1 second. But yeah, but some of these nitpicks I'm saying though, Bendy, they kind of also like hang over to like other chapters as well. I just take that with a grain of salt. Overall, still good. Take everything I said with a grain of salt, if you know. But overall, still good. I'm opening up the Flare story, chapter 17C. Real quick, 1 second. Let's see, is this right? Okay, this will be the last story we do for tonight, and we'll probably end it. I'm gonna switch to PC real quick. Be right back. Yeah, no worries, no worries. I'm gonna set the settings so we can read this. I'm gonna try to read it a little faster than normal too. We've been doing reading for a lot. I think I'll try to be more like. I feel like in the mood to critique a little more. So, as I read Flare's story, I will give my thoughts and critique a little more too. But overall, like, these stories are very fun to read. I'm very much enjoying it. No worries. Okay, there. Right side. Chapter 4 was severely rushed, and I wish I made it better, but making it better would take longer and take away from the actual reveals that happen later. Don't worry about it. Like I said, just take it with a grain of salt. It's not that big of a deal. We'll get to different chapters later. That's alright. I mean, chapter 4, I wouldn't say is a filler too, though, because like it did have a big reveal of showing, like, you literally just killed off, like, Quinn and showing the backstory of, like, Opal. Like, those are some really big reveals, you know what I mean? But, like, don't worry about it. So I'm just kind of forced to live with it. Yeah, no, it's fine. It happens. That's just part of the writing process. Don't take it to heart. Just hit it, take it with a grain of salt, and that's just my points and what I think. You're fine. Don't sweat it. Okay, but welcome back, Flare. I think we're good now, right? I think we are reaching the final story. We good. All right, cool. Okay, well, that's all good. I'm gonna take some water first. I'm gonna drink some water. Cool. Oh. All right. Especially that one episode, a really good show. It's all cool, but then that one that drags. Welcome back, Blue. Done lurking in the shadows. How was work? Well, actually, hold that thought. We're gonna start reading soon, so hopefully work was good. We're gonna be getting onto though. Are we all ready? Kirby's Grand Adventure, Chapter 17C, Reunion of Millennia. Oh, keep this music. Oh yeah, we love Persona music. Please, all right, I'll keep it. But hopefully we're all good and ready. Oh. It was awful. I was saying off. I gotta go now. My phone is almost dead. Have a good one. Everyone say bye-bye. Thank you for letting us read the chapter. See you all later. Bye-bye. We'll catch you later. Alright. Continuing on though. Flare's story. Everyone get ready. Grab a drink, grab a snack. Here we go. Oh. Okay. Omega had been launched back, skidding across the ground on his back, being caught by Code. You alright? He asked in worry. Yeah, Poyo, I'm good, Omega replied, getting up again, staring down the enemy. He then glanced at Code. Though, he remembered what you said earlier, Poyo. The question got a nod from him. Well, you could say you're right about yourself, as I remember you being at this exact strength in the past. Code chuckled at this. As I said, I had not grown in power at all, he stated in an unpleasant manner, just before dashing forward and slicing the enemy down, launching it back. Omega followed up with a dash and a leap. He then plunged down the enemy, swiftly bringing them to the ground and obliterating them. Code smiled at this. And as I said, you have grown in power, Omega. His words still shocked Omega. You really think I've grown, Blayo? Omega questioned, turned to look at Code, who nodded and smiled his way. Indeed. If you had not grown, I doubt this fight would have been over as quick as it was, Code admitted. You certainly are no longer the, shall we say, childish Kabi from the past. His next words made a bitterness rise up in Omega, and he scoffed at him. Well, you should have kept that part of that cold self of yours in you, Pollo, he stated in annoyance. Though he looked at Code more calmly. I forgot that Delta is code. I forgot. I suppose that coldness is what makes you, well, you, Pollo. Without it, I don't think I would know as you. I would know you, Code. Code found himself chuckling at this, having been, well, amused by what Omega stated. Well, honestly, it doesn't matter whether or not you truly know me, whether or not you truly know me now or not, Omega, he stated, after ceasing the laughter. We're close to where we need to be. Come now. He started walking ahead and away from the now deceased body, with Omega quickly falling in line after him. Somehow, Omega felt at ease with him, now that he was in the past. Yet, he could not explain it well. Not at the moment, anyway. And he would put his thoughts on hold further as the duo reached the door. This is the place, Code voiced, a monotone voice being used. Omega nodded, signaling he was ready. He then knocked on the door. This received an answer from a woman, looking strikingly familiar to Omega. Wait, he worded, trying to piece it all together. You're Flandre, right, Pollo? His question got met with a nod from the woman. You've met my original playful counterpart, then? She stated, smiling. Yes, I am Flandre Scarlet. Delta, thank you for completing this task. It was no issue of large concern, he replied. Though, it did give me the chance to reconcile with him about the past we share. Quite fascinating, Flandre said, showing interest in the topic before glancing at Omega. In any case, come on in. She stepped out of the way to let him in, which they did. They were met with the two other faces, a young woman's and younger-looking man's, both seemingly calm and collected. The black-haired woman tilted her head, seeming to examine Omega. So, this is the one we were talking about, she said subconsciously, and the man gave her a nod. Indeed it is, he replied, giving a warm smile to Omega. Welcome to our hideout. My name is Wedge, the acting leader of this resistance force. You must be Omega, right? Yes, Pollo, Omega responded with confidence. Might you tell me of your other comrade, though? My name is Loretta, the woman spoke up. Loretta Naito. To say we merely know of you would be an understatement. Some of our other allies hold high regard of you. Thus they told us much about you, your personality, how your life used to be, your favorite weapons, stuff like that. I can confirm just as much, Flandre spoke up. I might not know as much as my playful counterpart might, but I know enough to label you as an ally. Omega? Right, he said, getting nervous. But you said you had been told of things like my past, my personality, and other things like that, Pollo? The question received a collected nod from Wedge, Loretta, and Flandre. If you want, you can head on over to that room over there, Wedge told him, gesturing to another door. Omega glanced at it, having a bitter feeling rise within him, but allowed it to simmer down. All right, he said, moving towards the door. If it is the ancients, I swear to Nova, I will beat the living crap out of them, Poyo. Oh, sorry, I said that sorry. The living crap out of them, Poyo. Nice magic. Cute, I saw that with the hell of a magic trick. He thought bitterly to himself. He took a couple of deep breaths, then knocked on the door. A few moments passed. Without an answer, Omega became somewhat worried, knocking on the door again. A few more moments passed, which brought more worry for Omega. And he kept on. He was about to barge on in, but before he could, it opened, revealing an ocean blue Kabi, which Omega recognized all too well. With the sight of the Kabi, Omega started to tear up. Alpha, Poyo? He questioned shakily, feeling a tear roll down his cheek. The teal Kabi in question smiled and nodded. Hello, Omega, he said calmly. I assume you're here to see who else is in this room, right? Omega nodded, wiping his tears. Then come on in. I'm certain you'd bring a large smile to my companion's face. With that said, he stepped aside, allowing Omega to step in to see the other Kabi resting on the bed, tears filling his eyes once more, but fell very quickly. A warm smile found its way lingering on Omega, and he felt so happy. Aeon, he breathed, almost silent, as if he took small steps toward the bedridden Kabi, as though the figure had heard him. A quick glance at Omega brought a widened face of shock, and as tears rolled down his face just as fast, Omega stopped advancing, taking a good look at the pink Kabi, knowing all too well the look he was so used to. You're here, he said, warmth filling his voice. You're really here, Poyo! The last word of what Omega said got a chuckle out of the Kabi in question. And you still haven't dropped that speech habit of yours, Omega, Aeon had stated in a light-hearted manner, which got Omega chuckling a bit as well. What can I say, Poyo? Old habits die hard, he said confidently. Indeed they do, Aeon replied, getting off the bed and sighing. Still, you don't know how happy I am to see you again, true. Omega. These words got a small nod from Omega. He may not have known truly, but he had a very good guess. You're right on that, but I can venture a guess, Poyo, he said. But that aside, I've missed you, old friend. Omega gave a warmer smile still, and he wiped his face again from the tears. I've missed you as well, Omega, Aeon has stated. I assume Delta got you here, though? When saying this, his tone grew somewhat bitter, and Omega could understand why. Still, he nodded. Yes, Delta did bring me here, Poyo, he replied. He has changed greatly, Aeon. Greater than we had thought possible. And, honestly, I think it was best for that he brought me here, Poyo. What? Aeon had asked, dumbfounded. What makes you think this is true? Because he is capable of telling people like me the truth about what their intentions are, and is capable of bringing me here without tipping off the enemy, and that we were truly allies, and that we worked together, Poyo. That was really hard to say. Omega explained. And I know you had been there in his stead, and we saw each other. The cover couldn't have been blown. The cover would have been blown, and everyone would have died, Poyo, by the enemy's hand. The explanation seemed sound enough to Aeon, but that only prompted a question, and he felt he needed to ask it. I see. But how do you know this, Omega? he worded carefully. Omega quickly gave an answer. I don't know the full truth, but I can make an educated guess. I can make educated guesses by what others are doing. Poyo, he said. Based on what I encountered, I had let Flandre, whom I was with for a while, do the talking. When I was accepted into the group, Delta did the rest for the work by bringing me here. And then I asked some questions and pieced the rest of the information together. It wasn't that difficult to piece together, really. All I needed to do was ask, and I got the answers that I desired, Poyo. The explanation, again, was sound to Aeon, and it gave him the answer to his question. So, you didn't know, yet you guessed your way through, he pondered aloud, giving Omega a thoughtful look, still very teary-eyed. I can say with certainty that it may have led to that where I there instead. Right. That it may have led to that where I there instead of Delta. Oh, sorry. Am I answering? I can say with certainty that it may have led to that where I there instead of Delta. Hard to admit, that is. Omega chuckled further, getting teary-eyed himself yet again, feeling more joyous with each passing moment. You have always been stubborn, Poyo. That hasn't changed, he said softly and warmly. Granted, I have also been quite the stubborn Kabi myself. Sometimes even more than you, Poyo. This brought a smirk to Aeon's face, and a slight snicker escaped him. For you to admit that is more on the rare side, Omega, he commented, making the other one rub the back of his head in slight embarrassment. Still, that is a sign of growth. That's good. It was at this time that Omega noticed how wet the room was, closer to the bed. He developed a concerned look looking at Aeon. Aeon? Poyo? Just how much have you been crying? He asked, which surprised the pink puff. He looked at his bed and the floor around it, and he saw it was completely soaked around it. He shook his head, trying not to think about it too much. I don't know exactly, he told Omega. A lot, from the look of things. A lot doesn't cut it here, Poyo, Omega cut in, a concerned tone encasing his voice. Just what got you to break down into tears this badly? Aeon looked at Omega, seeing the concern in his features, and figured that if he were to be even more stubborn about revealing about it, it wouldn't be towards him. He let out a sigh, and looked at Omega calmly. Partly my thoughts, and partly Alpha, Aeon admitted. As Alpha was in the room, he showed signs of shock. But quickly regained his composure and spoke up. It's true, he said. I said some things that were said at the wrong time, and I regret to saying them, but I was trying to enlighten the mood, Omega. I didn't mean for him to get that riled up about it. He was met with a sympathetic look on Omega. It's alright, Poyo, he said. His thoughts may have not been the main cause of the sadness, and I wasn't there to soothe his thoughts, not at this time at least, Poyo. And Delta was out of the question, as I assume you and Aeon would not like him confronting either of you, Poyo. So, really, out of everyone here, you were the only one that could comfort Aeon. And I thank you two for comforting him in his time of need, Alpha, Poyo. He had a warm look at Alpha, who only found himself blushing. Well, someone had to do it, and you're right. Delta was out of the question, he said nervously. But seriously, Aeon was really off as of late. I could tell, Omega said solemnly, starting with how many tears have leaked over there, Poyo. That is not a normal amount of tears that anyone lets loose. And undoubtedly, so for Aeon. In fact, I don't remember him ever having shed more tears than me, Pollo. His facial features held worry and concern as he pieced together what his thoughts were about, and he thought of only the logical solution. Which would mean, possibly, that Aeon's thoughts were on me. And it was these thoughts that worried him over whether I was safe or not, Pollo. This reference got a gasp from Aeon, as more tears welled up within his eyes. You had been able to piece all that together, Omega, he asked, a little quiet. Omega turned to him and gave a nod. It's the only possibility that makes sense, Pollo, he says. I've had similar thoughts of you, though I knew that you would be safe and alright, but I didn't know that I would see you again, so I just focused on what was ahead of me, and I did not look back much, Pollo. Aeon held another gasp in from escaping, yet his face told Omega everything he needed to know. Aeon had been behind, shocked at the news. Had been beyond shocked at the news. Yet, I'm supposed to be the one who looked ahead and not look back at all. Sorry, can't speak. Yes, I'm supposed to be the one who looked ahead and not looked back much at all, Aeon complained a little, letting a chuckle escape him. Though, that goes to show just how anxious I had been as of late. Regardless, I am here now, and I want, truly, to join this resistance team. Not just because you're here, because I want to help everyone getting rid of our enemies. Pollo! Omega exclaimed, getting a warm smile from Alpha, and an excitable gasp from Aeon. You'd really join us, Omega? He questioned, receiving a nod from Omega. Of course, Pollo, he said. Besides, someone needs to be here to keep your anxious self in check. And me joining will ensure that I can do so, Pollo. His words made Aeon laugh slightly more than a chuckle, as he wiped some joyful tears from his eyes. Always to keep an eye on me, eh? Aeon teased, which got a smirk to form on Omega, before Aeon sighed in content. Thank you, Omega. With you here, we are close to achieving our goal, and it helped me out mentally, as I know you'll be safe around me. But you will want to talk to Wedge about joining officially. Right, Pollo, Omega said. He then left Aeon's room and went straight to Wedge. Ah, I take it you had a meaningful heart-to-heart with him, Wedge asked. Sure did, Pollo, Omega stated excitedly. That's good, Code chimed in. If anyone would be able to calm his nerves, it'd be you, Omega. We couldn't send him to you because... Flandre started before being cut off by Omega. I know, Pollo, he stated. If Aeon had been sent there would have been too much chaos, and it would leave with me, your original counterpart, and Aeon all dead. Most likely, anyways. And that was the risk you cannot take, Pollo. Spot on, actually, Flandre responded, shocked at the description Omega gave. It was with these specifications that we sent Delta instead of Aeon, though that gave us no shortage of issues with him during the time Delta was gone. Oh, Omega sighed after hearing this. Yeah, I sort of figured that out. That would have been the case, Pollo, he responded. I apologize for all the issues he caused you. No need to apologize, Wedge said, with a warm smile on his face. Things like this tend to happen frequently. I've personally come used to such scenarios that they don't really come to bother me anymore. I can practically say the same for Flandre here, as we have been through this together. It's true, she says, nodding. Me and Wedge have been through the worst of it by far, but we're both natural-born leaders at heart, so we grew accustomed to such scenarios. Now there was another factor in that, but I'd rather not state such things here. I understand, Pollo, Omega replied. In any case, There is a matter I wish to discuss. Oh? And what's that? Wedge questioned, tilting his head. May I join this resistance force? Omega asked him. I feel like if I were here, I could help out a lot against our foe. Figure out where they are at, and all that jazz. Plus, it'll give me more time to smooth things over with Aeon completely. Poyo. And there's a possibility that I have considered in making this choice. His features dropped a little of their happiness after saying the last part, alerting Wedge and Loretta immediately to the fact that something was wrong. Flandre? Flandre? Loretta? Perhaps you two can give me and Omega a moment, he requested the other two, who immediately complied and walked out of the area. Omega found this to be shocking. Huh? Poyo, he questioned, surprised. You clearly have something up, and if it's too personal for certain ears, Wedge tried before being cut off by Omega. Don't just assume things like that, Poyo, he hollered. This is not that personal. Sorry. This is not that personal. I mean, it is, but it isn't too personal for certain ears, Poyo. Wedge found himself practically backed into a corner, sighing after a moment, while Flandre and Loretta stayed in the area a little longer, readying themselves for if things went awry. I'm sorry, Omega, Wedge apologized. I had thought that this was a little too personal for a few people here, and I jumped to conclusions. Should we still go? Or Loretta asked nervously. Honestly, I think it's better for you to hear me out, Poyo, Omega answered with Wedge nodding to the two. With that, they both returned to the sides of Wedge, looking at Omega. So, what is it? Loretta asked, her curiosity piquing. It's about my son, Poyo, Omega said, a somber tone taking place. Wedge had dreaded what incident had taken place in order for him to be saddened about his son. Still, Omega pressed on. He's greatly injured right now, though has been kept alive by a warrior who's used magic on him. Poyo. But still, I have no idea if he will live through this. Tears started prickling at Omega's eyes. Who put him at the state to begin with? Flandre said, a deep and menacing tone encasing her voice. Her features raised as she thought of possible culprits. A demon by the name of Sark, Omega answered, which got a groan out of Wedge. Sark, huh? Haven't heard that name in a while, he said bitterly. Omega caught on to the bitterness immediately. You have a bad history with Sark? He asked. We all do, Loretta chimed in. He tried annihilating this entire base, and had it not been for Aeon and Wedge, we would have all been dead by now. And this happened about a month ago, Flandre added. What Wedge and Aeon did wore them both out, which leads to another reason why we sent Delta to get you instead of Aeon. The scars from the battle would have been spotted by Edna and her crew, and they would find out Sark had done the deed, which would have also blown everyone else's cover. When Flandre stated this, Omega nodded in understanding. Oh, hi, Carrie. Hi, Blue. Welcome to the stream. We're almost done here. We're finishing this reading, and after that, we're going to end the stream. How's it going, though? Did you have a good stream? I'm assuming you had a good stream. I'm going to keep reading, too, while we're reading for your response. He shouldn't be bothering anyone anymore, Poyo. Because not only did he bring my son down to the critical point of his life, he had done the exact same thing to the foul demon, Omega said, which surprised everyone here. Wedge himself gave a thoughtful look. Perhaps there was a weak point to Sark, he asked, getting a nod from Omega. It is unknown where it is exactly, Poyo, he replied. But I know it had been punctured, and Sark is sitting practically on his deathbed, not likely to get back up again. Hearing this piece of information, Loretta, Flandre, and Wedge smiled. Yeah, it's going alright. Ain't been streaming, but I've been catching up with a server of mine, doing work and whatnot, spending time with the partner, lol. Hey, Hey, nice. You know, it's always good. Spending time with people, just kind of socializing, conversing. It's very important for like the health. So that's good, good. Hopefully school's going all right too. You know, taking a little break from streaming if you need as well, because it seems like you haven't been streaming in a bit. But yeah, no worries. Nice. That's awesome here though. That's awesome here, dude. Continue on, buddy. Sorry. This is good news, Loretta exclaimed. This son is of Omega's really took out a thorn in our side. Indeed, Flandre agreed. Without his help, Sark would still have to come after us, day after day, trying to annihilate us. I just have a feeling that it would have led to that. Sorry, English is hard. When you do see your son again, Omega, please tell him that we give him our thanks. Wedge finished. Omega nodded. I will, he said, but his somber look returned. Still, that brings me to my request, Poyo. Ah, right. The reason behind you being so pained, Wedge commented. And you have a request in that regard? We will do everything we can to help out, but depending on what it is, we can most likely offer supporting words, unfortunately. Perhaps we may be able to do his request, Flandre added. But again, it will depend. If it is too high of a request, we will let you know, Omega. In hearing this, Omega nodded before speaking further. I want to ensure that he lives through this, Poyo, he stated, a tear leaking from his eye. By whatever means necessary, I can't lose my son. At this point, he was just on the brink of breaking down. Wedge could see it, and heard desperation in his tone. Code perked at the words, as well, stepping forward a little. Yeah, it's going. So I just read something. I just reread something. I thought. My bad. Omega, you sure this is the request you want to make them? To make to them? Or this is the request you want to make to them? He asked softly. He got his answer as Omega nodded, as more tears rolled down his cheek. You want us to ensure that your son lives? You can just leave that with me, Loretta exclaimed, a smirk on her face. Omega lit up to that. You mean it, Poyo? He questioned, a lot of hope encasing his voice. Loretta grinned and nodded. In case you didn't know, I'm quite skilled with white magic abilities, and largely thanks to one certain individual who took the time to teach me all he knew, she explained, while Wedge perked up to himself, recognizing where she was going with this. Oh, right, you had been personally trained by that one, huh? He asked for clarity, which received a nod from her. Liang, Flandre stated, well versed in the art of combat and magic, at least in the past. It is not clear to us where he is now, as to where he is with that now, though it is unlikely that we will run into him here anyways. In any case, I can help out, no problemo, Loretta said to Omega, confidence showing in her voice. Any being, any size, I can restore life to them. Thank you so much, Poyo. Omega beamed greatly, fresh tears rolling down his face. Then, the first step we need to take is to wait for Flandre to return from her duties right now. Then, we can contact that warrior and figure out where he and my son are at, Poyo. Sounds like a plan, Loretta exclaimed further. Seems like that went by faster than I thought, Flandre stated, shocked. If you want that plan to be made, Omega typically isn't the one to go to. But in this case, he is the most reliable here, Code said. Omega just rolled his eyes at this. In any case, we have a plan, Flandre confirmed. Best of luck to you both. Best of luck to you both when you do go and complete this. Both of them nodded, prepared for anything. Omega looked at Wedge after a second, A look of sincerity setting. Sorry. Omega looked at Wedge after a second. A look of sincerity setting on his features. But before he could utter a word, Wedge held out a hand, speaking up. Omega, I welcome you to the Resistance Force, he announced proudly, which made Omega smile greatly. I'm in, he thought to himself. I'm actually in! Yes! Yes! Now I can help out far more than I could otherwise. Poyo! And that is the end of chapter 17C. English is our enemy, it really is. I liked it overall, it's pretty consistent, still solid. I have a few questions though. In Toho, does Flandre actually have a twin, or is that just for this for your story? I'm curious. And that was the entirety of chapter 17. It was a big one. You said it was gonna be a big one, and it was a big one. So yeah, hell yeah. What do we all think though? What do we all think? Good chapter? Nah? Yarsh? Yarsh? Marsh? Munchlax. Munchlax. Okay. Real quick, let me get some stuff. Until Lost Word, their alternate universes of characters, Flandre's a few of herself. Oh! Okay, that makes sense. I feel like alternate universes pretty makes sense. I like it. It was good. Honestly, yeah, it was pretty good. Honestly, reminds me to continue writing up stuff for my characters. Myself. If you do write some stuff, dude, you should let us know. We can read it on stream. Although this stream has been so long. I'm so tired. I probably ran out of energy towards the last part of the stream because we had 3 big stories and we still went an hour long. So if I sound a bit winded, it's probably because I am. But I'm glad everyone enjoyed it though. I hope we had a lot of fun. That's where the twisted version of Flandre Scarlet came from. I've seen that before. I've seen twisted versions. I was like, what is that? Oh my god. But that makes so much sense. Drown the donut. I'm gonna need that. Let's check. Oh, right. I'm glad I like the story. Yeah. Raid time it is. So real quick, we're gonna be playing some horror games on Friday. I might plug in the face cam. We might do a face cam horror stream because that'll be fun. So if anyone wants to look for that, you know what time we usually stream at. We had so many awesome stories. Let me get an applause real quick for all the stories we had today. Bam! Here we go! I want to say thank you all for joining the stream. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you guys here. You are all so amazing and all awesome. I honestly wouldn't be streaming if it wasn't for... if I was all alone, I don't know how long I'd be streaming for, honestly. So, you guys give me motivation. And I will catch you on the next one. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Facecam, maybe. I said maybe. Not 100%. Maybe Facecam stream Friday. So keep that in mind. We'll be playing a horror game. Should be a Roblox horror game, so we'll play all in a group. And that'll be fun. See you in the Discord, and see you Friday for stream. See you all next time. We're going to raid Callie now. Have a good one. See you all next time. Bye-bye. Wait, hold on. This is good. Hold on. Wait. Oh, shit. Wait, hold on. Before we do that.
Apps.
I'm gonna go to the stream. Bye-bye now! Wow! Bam.
The bees? Big dubs to Tiger again, chat. Let's go!